Hi gang, Sharkchat21 here. We are continuing on with the Voron build. Today we're going to start on the A and B drives. So let me get the workbench cleaned off a little bit, get the parts, and we will get started. Okay, so for the A and B drives, we've got the two top plates. The motor carrier and the adjustment nut, and the bottom plate. The other side is mirrored. To start with, we need two M3 by 35s. Now everything done on one is done on the other, so we're going to do this at the same time. Now, first two screws drop down through here. Now, my parts are a little tight, so I'm going to have to screw them down through, but that's okay. Okay, I believe it's these, which are M3 by 7 wide by a ½ mil thick. We also start to get into the bearings now. Now the bearing stack is kind of specific. So we start on each peg. With one, and then because I'm doing first, and I oopsie. So for the one where the spacer is up top, spacer first, then washer. Now, the bearings are flanged. The flanges go on the outside, so you have space in the middle. In the other stack, it's two bearings. Then two washers. Then another two bearings. Finishing off with two more washers. Okay. Now, I've got the nuts in. So, the motor adjuster, the tail is offset. Lined up, slotted in. Then the bearing stacks go to the front screw these into the plastic. Oops, I did that backwards. Okay. The stack with the spacer is up front, the double stack is in the back. I hate doing things upside down and reversed. Let me fix that and I'll be back. Okay, so I've got both A and the B assembled. These pulleys need to be opposite one another. That way the belt routing behaves itself. Now, next step. We need both motors. And the two pulleys. Now, the pulley needs to be aligned with the top set. Now, the other side, which is mirrored, needs to match as well. Okay. Now, these get Loctite. Again, the purple stuff. Alright, that's done. Now those mount with 4 M3 by 35s each. Now, I'm going to do this so that the pigtails come out the same way as the adjusters. Okay, now the drives are done. We've got 2 screws in them. We have 4 screws across the front. This back screw goes into the vertical channel. 2 screws in the front, get 2 nuts from up here. The 3 screws, get 3 of the 6 that you put in here. So, let me attempt to start to put this in. Put the nuts in the middle and up front, that way you can get to them. Okay, now those bolt down with some more of the M3 by 35s. Okay. Getting all the nuts in position is a tricky part. Now, that should be in. There we go. Okay. And now just sliding nuts in and putting in screws. I'll come back when it's done. Okay. So all four across the front and the the three on the front and the three on the sides are done. Those are now installed. The one on the printer's right, if you're looking from behind, has the one forward bearing up top. The one on the printer's left has the forward bearing on the bottom. We're going to skip putting the end stop there for the moment. We'll come back to that later. Now we do need an M3 by 12. And there is a little hole in the back of the Z-nut mount that this screw goes in. This one is threading directly into the plastic, so be careful. You don't want to strip it out because this is used to adjust the Z end stop. I'm going to run this pretty much all the way down. But I will, because I need that later. The next thing that's supposed to go on is Z end stop. We'll do that one later as well. The Z end stop mounts to this piece, which mounts right there. The notch in the back panel is so you can feed the wires back out. But once we get to the wiring, we'll do the end stops. And next stop is the idlers. So we will do those. Now, there are two stacks. You've got a thin piece and a thick piece. The thick piece goes on printer's right, the thin piece goes on printer's left. You then have a thick piece and a thin piece. The thick piece goes on printer. The thick piece on printer's left, the thin piece on printer's right. And that's so that the top of the stack is the same height. For this, we will need two M3 by 35s each. Two of the shim washers per each side, and two bearings per each side. The stack up is the same as the last one. Okay, now it's one shim washer, the two bearings with the flanges, they're the shim. Oh, I got a big elephant's foot on this one. Give me a second to trim it. Okay. So you'll end up with a stack up like this. Now, the nice thing with the fronts is there's only one nut, because the other bit goes into the end of the threaded rod there. So we'll run down the screw. On the front, I'm going to back out the one in the back. Okay, now that it's started, we move it to the front, and then cinch the bolt down, and voila, idler is finished. And we repeat for the other side. I'll come back when that's done. Okay, AB drives and front idlers are installed and ready to go. Alright, so we're doing the end stop mounting because up to a spot, and it fits with the idlers because they need to mount to it. These mount in two different locations. One of them mounts to this block, and it mounts without the lever on it. So I'm going to need to take that out, and it mounts so that you'll hit the head of the screw there. So that should mount something like this on the block. And we need to use two of the self-tapping screws. So I get them screwed in. The actuator is over here, away from the side that mounts to the rail. Now, mounting this to the extrusion is two M3 by 10s. And I'm going to sneak the wires for this through that hole, because that's a convenient routing point for them. And that will work for now. I want this about flush with the top. The other switch mounts to the drive, and it mounts with the little arm facing up, and it mounts right here again with two of these self-tappers. So we'll get that installed. I would actually recommend starting installing this one when this mount is not yet bolted on. It'll make getting the nuts underneath a little trickier, but it'll make getting that on a little easier. So, this is SharpShot21, wishing you guys a good evening, or good morning, because this will come out in the morning. Hoping that you enjoyed this, found it informative, and are using it to build your own printer. These are fun little printers from what I've seen, and I cannot wait to get this built and printing. So hopefully I'll see you guys next time for the next one, and we will continue working on finishing this one up. We're getting pretty close. Another, I don't know, 4 or 5 videos, and should be ready to go. But thanks for tuning in. If you liked it, hit that like button. If you want to continue with the series, hit subscribe and the bell button, and that will let you know when I put the next one of these up. And I hope to see you next time. Sharps out.
Thank you all for watching. I hope you enjoyed. If you did, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. It really helps me out, and it lets you know when I put something new up. New videos will be going up on Tuesdays or Thursdays at 8 a.m. Eastern. And if I do decide to do live streams, I will try to give 24 hours notice. So hit the subscribe button on the channel, and you'll be notified when I post that stuff too. Hope to see you next time. Sharps out.